Yes, let the others join. Let all of them join. Just wait some time. Okay, so this is the next part. This is a separate chapter, that is neural control and coordination. Okay, like last class, we have discussed about the control and coordination. In control and coordination, there are two systems. One is chemical control and coordination, and the other is neural control and coordination. Okay, so chemical control and coordination is all about hormones, endocrine glands, right? Now, the neural control and coordination is all about the nerve cells or neurons. Okay, nerve fibers, brain, and spinal cord, all those. So, the human neural system, or it is also known as human nervous system. Okay, that is the system that comprises of brain, the nerves, the spinal cord, all this together they form the human nervous system. Nervous or neural, it is the same thing. Okay, so human nervous system or human neural system, it is of two parts or two, what to say? Two, yes, two parts you can say. So, uh, like one part it is known as the central nervous system, and the other part is known as peripheral nervous system. Okay, so central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system, also known as central neural system. Okay, nervous and neural, same thing. So central nervous system, it contains of the brain and spinal cord. Spinal cord means spine. No, spinal cord. So the central nervous system, in short, we call it as CNS. So the CNS or the central nervous system, it consists of the brain and the spinal cord. Okay. Next is peripheral nervous system. Second one, the peripheral nervous system or the PNS, it consists of all the nerves, nerve fibers or nerves. Okay, all the nerves that are in our body. Now, what is the function of the nerve? What do you think is the function of the nerve or the nerve fibers in our body? So nerves, nerve cells or nerve fibers, they transmit electrical impulses. Okay. The nerve fibers, they transmit electrical impulses. Right. That is why, since electricity, what to say? It travels very fast. The electricity, it travels very fast. That is why, since the nerve fibers, they transmit electrical impulses. That is why those impulses also travel very fast. Okay. So, for example, like you have seen something in front of your eyes. You have seen something, like you have seen a some cloth or something in the laptop, or you're seeing a laptop, or you're seeing a color, like you're seeing red, blue, pink colors. Okay, so when you see the color, you see it through your eyes, right? But the eye, they cannot remember the color, they cannot process the information, they can do nothing. They can just see it. So when the eye, it sees it, what it does is that there is an optic nerve in the eye. Okay, optic nerve is there. Nerve. Okay, those optic nerve, they will send electrical impulses. Okay, the optic nerve will send electrical impulses to the brain. Okay, and in the brain is, the brain is the, what to say, memory for a laptop. It is the disk or the RAM, ROM. All this serves as the memory, right? So in the brain, so in for human beings, the brain it serves as a memory storage. So when the information that will be passed into the brain in the form of electrical impulses, then the image, it will be converted into electrical impulses in the eye's retina, and then it will be transmitted to the, what to say, optic nerve. We will discuss about that in the coming chapters. So that will happen. So optic nerve will play a very important role. So optic nerve in the eyes, they will transmit signals to the brain, and then the brain will identify the thing that yes, this is the red color, this is this, and this is that, from its own knowledge, from its own, like, uh, in your childhood you don't know what is a red color or what is this color. You cannot recognize any color, right? You memorize it, that this is red, this is blue, or something like that. So you memorize it, that is stored in your brain for life. And when you see that color, the optic nerve from the eye, they will send signal to the brain, and then the information, it will be processed in the brain. So information will be processed in the brain. The memory that is already stored in the brain, it will be processed from there, and then you will learn that yes, this color is red, and I know it. Okay, so that thing, it happens very fast in microseconds, because you see, when you see the color red or see something, you immediately identify it, right? You immediately identify it. You don't take much time, which means from the time you saw the thing to the time it processed in the brain and then it came out of your mouth to say someone, so it took like very very less amount of time, because the nerve fibers, they send electrical impulses, and electrical impulses, they travel very fast. Okay, and the peripheral nervous system, they, what to say, they comprise of all the nerve all the nerve fibers, all the nerves that are in our body. Okay, and the nerve fibers, they are of two types. Nerve fibers, they are of two types. Nerves, there are many nerve, there is a nerve cell, right? Nerve cell or neurons, they will form nerve fibers. Many neurons will together form a nerve fiber. Many cells will together form a fiber. So the nerve fibers, they are of two types. One is afferent fibers and one is efferent fibers. Afferent nerve fibers and efferent nerve fibers. So this classification or this differentiation of the types of, like, the nerve fibers is based on its function. Function means it's the function of the nerve fibers. Okay, the function of the nerve fibers differ from one another. That is why they are classified into two different types. One is afferent, one is efferent. So the afferent nerve fibers, what they does is that they transmit impulses from the tissues or organs to the central nervous system. Tissues and organs to the central nervous system means, like, from your hand it will process through your brain. So if you are touching something hot, then you know that it is hot or you know it is cold, right? So that when you touch it through your fingers, then that information will be passed through your hand to your brain. That information that is passed from the hand to your brain, that is known as, that information is passed through afferent nerve. Okay, that is from tissues and organs to central nervous system. Central nervous system contains brain and spinal cord. Okay, so the next is efferent fibers. So efferent fibers is the complete opposite. That is the brain to the sense organs, or to the tissues and organs. Okay, like, it is hot, right? So the hand, it sends signal to the brain. The brain will develop the information, it will process the information, and then again send signal to your hand, that to remove your hand from the hot object, right? So that the signal that is sent from the brain to your hand, that is done by efferent fibers. Is it clear? So afferent and efferent. Afferent, it transmits impulses from tissues and organs to central nervous system, that is brain and spinal cord, and different it is the opposite, that is from CNS to the tissues and organs. Okay, and here you can see the CNS is the site of information processing and control. Why information processing and control? Because it consists of brain and spinal cord, right? This contains brain and spinal cord. Brain, is the information center, and it processes information. It is a place where memory is stored and information is processed, and everything control over every single thing. Your brain controls over every single thing. Like I'm speaking now. Right, I'm speaking now. Yes, my vocal cord is required, my mouth is required, my throat is required, everything is required. But then these things alone cannot process anything. That thing needs to come out of my brain. Okay, my brain should uh, dictate over its other uh, things. Okay, like for me to speak, for me to even like speak, teach, or whatever, my brain should give the information, give the control. But it is the brain, since it contains a brain and spinal cord, that is why it is CNS. It is known as the information processing and control center. Okay, so human nervous is just from here, from this slide, it just need to remember the most important thing, that is the human nervous system. It is of two types, the CNS and PNS. The CNS contains of brain and spinal cord, and the PNS it contains of all the nerves. And the nerve fibers, there are two types, that is efferent and efferent. Okay, next we will discuss about the neurons. Neuron. So neuron or nerve cell, same thing, neuron or nerve cell. Okay. So like the cell is a structural and functional unit of life, right? When you are asked what is a cell, the answer is cell is a structural and functional unit of life. Why is structural and functional unit of life? Why the cell is known as structural and functional unit of life? Because every individual, every living thing, it is made up of cell, right? Whether it is plants, animals, or anything. So this is zoology will take examples of animals, and animals will take examples of humans. So what happens from from the woman's womb, the the baby starts to grow right in the womb. So initially, what happens? The zygote, that is the embryonic stage, right? This zygote it is a single cell thing that is formed by the sperm and ovum. When the sperm is a cell, ovum is a cell, right? Sperm is a cell, ovum is a cell, and when the sperm and ovum they will meet, they will form a single cell. Okay, sperm is haploid. Haploid means it has half the number of chromosomes. Then egg is also haploid, means half the number of chromosomes. When they will meet, they will form 43 chromosomes. Sorry, 23, 46, 23 chromosomes, 23 pairs. Okay, so which means uh, it is formed of a single cell. That is, when the sperm and ovum will meet, they will form a zygote. Zygote is a single cell. Okay, since life, and that single cell will one develop, and one day it will become a baby, and one day it became you, me, and everyone, right? So what I mean, what I'm saying is that every individual or every living thing, it starts from a single cell. That is why cell is known as the structural and functional unit of life. Same way, for the neural system or the nervous system to even exist, this nerve cells and neurons need to be there. That is why it is known as the structural and functional unit of life. Unit of neural system or nervous system. Okay, so this is the structure of a neuron. This is very important. Okay, important means you might be sometimes asked to draw the structure of this neuron. So neuron, it is divided into three parts. The neuron or nerve cell is divided into three parts. That is, one is cell body. This is the cell body. This portion is a cell body. Then there are dendrites, these branches. These are dendrites. Then this stalk or this stick-like thing. This is the axon. Okay. So neuron, it is divided into three parts, that is cell body, dendrites and axon. Okay, and since this is a cell, this is also a cell. Okay, this is not something like, this is not a tree or something, this is a cell. Like while we were discussing about blood cells, we saw the structure of platelet is like star shaped thing, right? And the structure of shape and structure of the red blood cells is like a button. So same way, this nerve cell is like this, structure of a nerve cell is like this. So since every cell has a nucleus, every cell has a nucleus. Only the RBC, they do not have nucleus, right? All the cells, they have a nucleus. That is why the nerve cell will also have a nucleus. So this is the nucleus of the nerve cell. This is the cell body and this is the nucleus. Cell body is also known as soma. Okay, SOMA, soma, cell body or soma. And this is the cell body. This is the nucleus. And there will be cytoplasm, like jelly-like material, right? Cytoplasm will be there. Then these small dots you can see, fragments, small dots. These are known as Nissls granules. Okay, what are Nissls granules? They are fragments of endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, endoplasmic reticulum is a cell organelle, and Nissl granules are fragments or small particles of endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, so these fragments are found in the cytoplasm. Then these are dendrites. These branches are dendrites. So there are many dendrites. This is one dendrite, this is one dendrite, this is one, two. So there are many dendrites, right? So this is dendrite. Then this is the axon. This this thing is the axon. Then this is black, this portion, this is the Schwann cell. So what is the function of a Schwann cell? The function of a Schwann cell is it produces myelin sheaths. The Schwann cell, it produces myelin sheaths. Okay. In the brain, there are two types of cells. In the brain, there are two types of cells. One is neurons, and one is Schwann cells. Okay, two types of cells are there. One is neurons or nerve cells, one is Schwann cells. So the Schwann cells, they they form the myelin sheaths. Okay, this is the myelin sheath. This one is the myelin sheath. So what is the function of myelin sheath? Do you know conductor and insulator of electricity? What is it? Can you give me an example? One example of conductor, one example of insulator. One example of conductor, one example of insulator. Can you give me examples? Obviously, you know it. You are so in a day-to-day life only you see things that are not conductor of electricity or they are conductor of electricity. You know, in your day-to-day life, in your own life, you use electricity. That is why you know it. So just say it. See the other sections. They except the section B, your own people, DMLT people, they don't speak. Any people don't speak. But other section, the section C, those DRT, DPT people, they speak. Whenever I ask a question, whether it is wrong or right or whatever, they speak. Okay, it may be wrong. No worries, it may be wrong. Okay, plastic, paper, and rubber. Plastic, paper, and rubber is a bad conductor of electricity. That is, it is an insulator. Okay, it is not a conductor. Okay, yes, plastic, paper, and rubber. It is a it is an insulator. Okay, conductor is iron. Iron is a conductor. Human body is also a conductor. Water is a conductor. Yes, human body is also a conductor. Water is a conductor. Right. So, uh, what to say? This myelin sheaths, I told like electrical impulses they transmit, right? Electrical impulses are transmitted. So, since they pass electricity, that is why these myelin sheaths they act as insulators. Okay, myelin sheath they act as insulators. See, conductor and insulator means those who don't know it. Conductor means those things through which electricity can pass. For example, iron or human body. That is why, uh, uh, like plastic is a bad conductor of electricity. That is why, or insulator you can say. That is why you can see those electrical wires. There is a coating of plastic or rubbery thing. Coating is there, right? That because without the coating, it will be very dangerous. Electricity will flow. Means you cannot touch the wires. But even if you touch the wires, even though electricity is running through it, you will not get shocked because uh, this wire, it is a wire means that plastic wrap in the wire, that is a bad conductor of electricity. But that is the reason why those electrical boards, those switch boards, those boards are made up of plastic and not iron. Just imagine that of made of iron, will not be able to give like switch on anything or on or off anything. And then water is a bad conductor of electricity. That is why uh, it is asked not to touch the switch with your wet hands. Then again, bamboos, those bamboos which are raw, which are not dry and which are like fresh bamboos, those are bad conductors because it is full of water. And when it is dry, it does not have any water and it is completely dry. Then it is not a bad conductor. That is why like electrical wires, those ask not to touch it with a dry stick, not a like fresh one because it is full of water. So like that, insulator means it does not allow electricity to pass through it, and conductor it allows electricity to pass through it. Okay, human body is also a conductor. Why a conductor? Because uh, human body, when you touch a like if you touch something like those uncoated electric wires, if you touch it, you'll get shocked. That's right. Because electricity can pass through human body also. And yes, paper, rubber, glass, all these are insulators. These are not conductors of electricity. They will not allow electricity to pass through it. That is why even if you touch those electric wires with a like glove in your hands, it will not uh, you will not get shocked. Okay. So these myelin sheaths, they act as an insulator, and the myelin sheaths are produced by the Schwann cells. Schwann cells produce myelin sheaths. Okay, and in the brain there are two types of cells. One is Schwann cells and one is nerve cells. That is neurons. Okay, and then this is the axon. This is Schwann cells. Okay, then myelin sheath is there. Then in between there is a point where there is no myelin sheath. In the axon there are some nodes or some points where there is no myelin sheath. These nodes or these points, these are known as node of Ranvier. Okay, these nodes where there is no myelin sheath. There are small portions. So this is known as nodes of Ranvier. And this root-like thing, this is the axon terminal. It is the axon end, no? That is why it is the axon terminal. And this bulb-like thing, bulby thing, round thing, that is the synaptic knob. So when you are asked to draw the diagram of a axon, you have to level each and every part and each and every one, everything as it is. Okay, it is not essential that you have to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dendrites. You can draw 7 also, 8 also. You can draw 4 also, 2 also. More than 2, okay, more than 2. But you can draw as many as you like. It's not like you have to draw like this only, not that. But every what to say, part needs to be there. Okay, and the neurons, they are of different types. Neurons are of different types based on different categories. Okay, like uh, just give me a second. Just give me Yes, can you hear me? I got a phone call in my other number, that is why connection. I guess you can hear me, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So neurons, there are different types. So based on whether the myelin sheath is present or not, based on the presence or absence of myelin sheath, neurons are of two types. That is, this neuron, this diagram, this is a myelinated neuron because myelin sheaths are present. And if these myelin sheaths are absent, then it is unmyelinated or non-myelinated neuron. Okay. So based on whether myelin sheath is present or not, neurons are of two types. One is myelinated and one is non-myelinated or unmyelinated. Okay, next there is based on the number of axon and dendrites. Here it is, you can see here. So based on the number of axon, this one axon and dendrite, again neurons are of different types. That is multipolar, bipolar and unipolar. This is a type of multipolar neuron. This is a type of multipolar neuron. Okay. Multipolar means it has one axon but it has several dendrites. Okay, multipolar means one axon and more than one dendrite. More than one. Two, it may be two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10, whatever. Okay, so multipolar means many dendrites and only one axon. Now, bipolar means it will have only one dendrite and only one axon. Unipolar means it will have only one axon and there will be no dendrites. There will be no dendrites and only one axon will be there. That is known as unipolar. Okay, so based on the number of axon and dendrites present, the neurons it is of three types, that is multipolar, bipolar, and unipolar. So while you are this is a what to say? This is a common neuron. Okay, when you are asked to draw a neuron, you don't have to draw bipolar and unipolar. You have to draw this one, multipolar neuron, because this is a general neuron. It is the most common neuron and it is the normal neuron. Okay. Next is based on the function. Based on function, also the neurons they are of different types. That is sensory neurons, motor neurons, and mixed neurons. So sensory neurons they carry messages from the sense organs to the brain, to the central nervous system. Okay, sensory neurons they carry messages from the sense organs to the brain, to the CNS. Motor neurons they will carry messages from the central nervous system to the sense organs. Okay, it is the opposite of sensory neurons. And the mixed neuron they will carry both ways, from sense organs to CNS, from CNS to sense organs. Okay. So when you are asked to write the types of neuron, you have to write everything, each one. But when you are asked to write the neuron based on like function, based on like what to say, number of axon and dendrites, based on myelin sheath presence, then you have to write it uh, accordingly. Okay. Otherwise, you have to write all. Hey, there's people calling so much. Give me a second. Okay. So these are the types of neurons. Okay, in the brain there are two types of cell. One is Schwann cell, one is nerve cell. Nerve cell most important purpose. Schwann cell has a small purpose, that is Schwann cell. They form the myelin sheath around the axon of a nerve cell. You can ask doubts at the end. Okay, I'll complete it first. So now reflex action and reflex arc. Do you know voluntary and involuntary action? What is voluntary? What is involuntary? Do you know involuntary and voluntary action? What do you mean by voluntary action? What do you mean by involuntary action? Hmm? Okay. Have you heard of volunteer during sports week, during your school functions and everywhere, or picnics, school picnics, and means organized by schools and everything. Have you heard of volunteers? There are volunteers, student volunteers are there, right? So what is the function of that volunteer? What does that volunteer do? So those volunteer, no one has asked them to do anything, right? No one has given them any responsibility. But the volunteers are those students or those faculties or whoever, those people who come forward by their own will, right, help to help out during the task. They will come forward to help out during the task, and no one has given them any instruction, and no one has given them any like what to say, any instructions or anything that you have to do this and do that. No one has asked them to, but they volunteer themselves willingly. Okay, that is volunteer. That is known as a volunteer. Okay, now voluntary action. What is voluntary action? Voluntary action means you are choosing to do that. Okay, like you're walking. You're walking. Walking is a voluntary action. I'm speaking now. That is a voluntary action. I can choose not to speak, right? I have control over my speech. That is voluntary. I'm waving someone goodbye or something. That is a voluntary action. I'm walking, I'm sitting, I'm dancing, singing, whatever. That is completely voluntary. But there are involuntary actions too. Okay, involuntary action. Like, for example, sweating. Sweat. Do you have control over your sweat? It is good to sweat, but no one loves to sweat. Okay, everyone hates sweating. It's very uncomfortable. It's very like it's not good at all, right? Everyone feels so disgusting when they sweat. For me also, when I sweat, I don't feel good. I feel dirty. I don't like it, right? But I don't. If I have control over the sweating thing, I would have stopped it, even though it is not good for my health. If I have control over my sweating, if I can stop it, I would have stopped it, because even though it is not good for my health, I would have felt comfortable. But that I cannot do because that is an involuntary action. Involuntary means you have no control over the action, but it is happening. You are the one doing it. Okay, your body is only doing it, but you don't have any control over it. Okay, and you are not doing it over with any conscious effort. No conscious effort is there, and nothing. No thought is there. Nothing. Okay, that is involuntary. Means you don't have any control over the action. That is involuntary. So reflex action is a involuntary action. Reflex action is an involuntary action. Okay, means reflex action, you don't have any control over the reflex actions. Okay, you don't have any control over it. So let me give you an example. Like for example, you're sitting in a class. You're sitting in a class. You're talking to your friend. Your teacher or your professor is he or she is explaining, right? Giving lecture, and you are sitting and talking to your friend, or you're not paying attention. You're doing anything. You're like looking your mobile maybe. So that is the teacher or the professor, he or she threw a duster at you or a chalk at you. What will be your instant reaction? Will move apart, right? Or you can take the example of like you're walking by the road, you're walking, and then you suddenly saw a snake lying down. So you'll jump, you'll shout, even though there is no point in shouting, but then you'll shout and you'll yell and you'll jump and you'll run away, right? Then like you're sitting, then a fly it came near your eye will come automatically close and see if or and like you by mistake you have touched something that is very hot, burning hot, okay, a candle or something, or very hot flame, burning flame, so you'll automatically withdraw your hand. So that is if it was a voluntary action, if it would have been voluntary, you would have thought about it. Oh, my hand is burning, and then I have to withdraw it, and that will take so much time, and your hand will get burned. Someone threw something at you, you need to move, or if you would have thought about it and then acted on it, then that by the time you would act, that particular thing would have hit you. Okay, and the snake would have bite you. So those actions, those responses, like when your teacher threw a chalk at you, you would have moved, right? And you saw the snake, you would have yelled and run away. You touched a very hot object, you would withdraw your hand immediately. So those things, those are reflex actions, because those things you will not think once. And uh, this is not something you choose to do. Okay, that happened. For say you're in the kitchen, you're boiling water, say, and the pan or the whatever thing you're using to boil the water, that thing has a handle. Okay, a handle. And you happen to touch, and it is very hot, it is boiling 100 degrees Celsius, it is boiling. Now you touch the handle with your bare hands. Okay, you lifted it up, and then you realize it is very hot. What will you do? If you leave it, if you think through your mind, you don't have to you should not leave it, because if you leave it, the whole water, boiling water, will uh, fall like on top of you, and you'll get more burn. Okay. So but you don't have that much of brain function there. That is why you will leave it instantly, and then the water will fall down, you'll burn yourself more. Okay, that is also a reflex action, because that is a response, that is the whole entire response, or the what to say, the process of response, that is done by the nerve cells, that is done by the peripheral nervous system, that is the nerve fibers are involved. Okay, and that happened immediately, and without your conscious effort, without any effort of you, and without even thinking once. Okay, that happened, and that is known as reflex action, and you don't have any control over that action. Okay, you don't have, you should not shout in the class, but if you see a snake lying sitting by your side, you'll shout, right? So which means you don't have any control over the action, and you have not done it with conscious effort. Okay, you don't, your consciousness is not involved. That is known as reflex action, and it is involuntary. Now what is reflex arc? So reflex arc is a nerve pathway involved. That is, like you touch something hot, then that nerve impulse will be carried, right? Carried. So to withdraw your hand, that impulse will be carried. So they carry through the nerve. So the nerve pathway that like from touching the pan to withdrawing your hand, that nerve impulse, that nerve pathway is known as the reflex arc. Okay, I hope you understand the reflex action and reflex arc. So, so this is all about the neural control. Okay, any doubts from this chapter? Please ask. Any doubts? Any doubts from this chapter? Please ask. And if don't give multiple times roll numbers, but if you have not given your roll numbers yet, please give it. Okay, and I will what to say? I'll upload this class uh, tomorrow. Okay, because this is for tomorrow's class. Morning 9, I have a class, so this is for tomorrow's class. Okay, this one I'll upload it tomorrow, and the earlier class that I took, that I'll upload for today's class.
Ma'am,
Yeah,
peripheral nervous system once more. Explain.
peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system is nothing but all the nerves. The central nervous system contains of brain and spinal cord, right? Now, the peripheral nervous system, it consists of all the nerve fibers, all the nerves. There are millions and millions of nerves in our body, right? So all those nerve cells, they will form nerve fibers, and those are responsible for your, for walking, also for everything, for feeling everything, not your emotional feelings, but your physical feelings. So everything is done by, everything you do it through, everything happens because of the nerves sensation, and everything because of the nerve present in your skin, and everywhere in your body. If there is no nerve, you will not uh, have any sensation. Okay, so those nerves, all those nerves are included inside in peripheral nervous system. The nervous system, it is of two types, that is central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Yes. So central nervous system will have brain and spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system will contain all the nerves. Okay, different nerves are there. Like in the eye, there is an optic nerve. Okay, when you see something, the optic nerve will, there will be image right formed in your eye, right? So that image will be converted into electrical impulse by the optic nerve in your eye, and that optic nerve, they will transmit that signal to your brain, and then brain will identify that object. Okay, so there is
Yes.
optic nerve in the eye optic nerve. Then there are different nerves. So all those nerves, every nerve in your body, in your skin, in your everywhere, so all those nerves are included in the peripheral nervous system. And the nerve fibers are of two types, that is afferent and efferent. Afferent nerve fibers, based on function, it is different, right? And efferent also, based on function, it is different. So uh, so yes, this is uh, don't make it complex. Okay, just remember that peripheral nervous system, it contains of all the nerves in the body, every nerves in the body that is associated with the brain. Okay,
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
okay. Next we will discuss about sense organs. Today I will not take that. Next class, what sense organs. Okay. Actually, sense organs is actually should be included in this chapter only, because in the book that I gave you, ebook, so in that book, the sense organs is included in this chapter only, but in your syllabus it is given as a separate chapter. So that we will discuss next class. So any more doubts? Any more doubts? If you don't have any doubts, you can leave. Okay, I'll upload this class tomorrow. Thank you.